Welcome back. In this video we're going to add the handle onto our torch body model. First thing we're going to do is right click on the right plane and select new sketch, and then we're going to press the N key to view normal, and we can right click and go zoom to fit so that we can get it as big as possible up on our screen. So we're going to draw the handle over here, and to start with we're going to convert a couple of lines. So we're going to use the conversion tool, and we're going to convert the top edge of the torch and this little arc over here. Now we might need to zoom in just to pick up the curve and not just the center point, and then we can zoom back out again. I'm using the scroll wheel on the mouse to do this, and using this software with a mouse is so much easier than just using a trackpad. So it's a good idea to invest in a mouse if you haven't already done so. Right, now we're going to add on some lines. So I'm going to pick the line tool, and remember, if I click and then click again, it will do a multi-line. So I've just done a vertical line, a horizontal line, a shorter vertical line, and another horizontal line, and then I'll press escape to end the line, and I'm now going to dimension those. I'm going to dimension 40 millimeters from the line we created just now to the top line. So just enter in 40 on the keyboard and hit enter. And I'm going to dimension the length of this line 98 millimeters. The length of this line is going to be 16 millimeters. And then that's that drawn so far. I'm just scrolling around with the mouse again. The next thing I'm going to do is to sort out the length of this line, but I'm going to use the coincident point. So I'm going to pick the coincident point here. I'm going to select the end of that line, and then I'm going to select this line here. And there we go, that's moved to that point. Zoom out, zoom in, so you've got an idea of the sketch we're doing. Okay, so there's a kind of basic outline shape for what we're going to do. We just need to add the inner part in as well. So I'm going to use the center circle tool, and I'm just going to draw a center circle over here, but I'm going to come down to that line so that we have a tangential relationship, and then I'm going to dimension that so that the diameter is 29 millimeters, and the center from the end line, so from here to the center of the circle, is going to be 19.5 millimeters. Now we need to do a similar thing up here. So we are going to initially convert this line. So I'm going to use the conversion tool again. Click on that line to convert it, and then I'm going to extend that line round. So under the trim tool, there's the extend tool, and I can select that line and I can bring it all the way around to make a complete circle. And I now want to draw a line in that goes between the top two edges of these circles. So I'm going to use the straight line tool. I'm going to make sure that it lines up with the origin and click, and again make sure it lines up with the origin and click, and that allows me to put that line in. Press escape to end the line. So we just need to add some bits in here, and again we're going to use the conversion tool. So left click on the conversion tool, and I'm going to pick this line, and I'm now going to pick this arc. Finally, last thing I need to do is just to draw a line between these two dots. So I'll zoom in, use the line tool, and pick the end of that line, and then just snap it to the end of that line. Okay, and that's not quite gone to the edge. You can see there from the little curve. So what we will do is we will add a relationship on there. So go to the coincident point, click on there, click on that line. Now you can see that it doesn't like it, and that's because it's already on the geometry. So let's delete that relationship, and you can see now that that's joined that up. So that's the basics of our shape. Let's right click and zoom to fit. So let's trim away the bits that we now do not need. So we're going to use the trim tool, which may well be hiding under our extend tool. So go back to the trim tool, and firstly we're going to remove the inside of that circle and the inside of that circle, and we also therefore no longer need this line here. If we come down there, we can see that we've got a line there as well, so it's important that we take away this line. And our shape has now gone grey. So we've got this shape all the way around here and up to here, which is what we want for the handle. So we'll just left click on here and change that to isometric so we can see what we're doing, and we're going to extrude this. So we're going to click on the feature tool, extrude feature. We want a distance of 25 millimeters, but we want it to be symmetric, so we're going to change that to symmetric, and you can see how it changes on there, and then we will click the tick to say that we are happy with that. Now before we go any further, we need to add in a fillet on both of these ends, put a curve on, so we use the fillet tool. So we use the fillet tool here on this end, just click on there, and I'm going to change that distance to 18 millimeters and hit enter, and then tick to say I'm happy. And then I'm going to use the fillet tool again and click on this end, and this time it does just want to be 5 millimeters, so I can leave it at the default, so I can click and leave that to say that I'm happy. So at that point we've drawn the block of the handle in. What we now need to do is to add in the recess that's modelled on the torch. We're now going to add in the recesses, so we're going to create a new sketch on the right plane again. So right click on the right plane, left click on new sketch, press N to view normal to the sketch, and we'll just zoom in. Now we're going to start off by creating some lines offset to the top and the bottom edges of the handle. So we're going to use the offset tool. I'm going to click on the top edge, and I'm going to click on the radius on the right. I'm just going to drag now the arrow inside, because that's the direction I want to do. Hit enter, and then that will allow me to change the distance. So I'm going to hit 3 on the keyboard and hit enter. And I'm going to do the same on the bottom edge. So pick those 2 lines, but drag the line above this time, hit enter, change it to 3, hit enter again. I'm now going to draw a 5 millimeter radiused circle. Anywhere over here will do. What I'm going to do is just drag out a circle to start with, and then I'm going to dimension it. So I'm going to dimension that circle so that it is 5 millimeters in diameter. I'm then going to dimension it so that the center of that circle is 80 millimeters from the end line that we did, 80. And I'm now going to dimension it so that, or I'm going to add a tangent point to it so that that circle and that circle, or that curve, are in touch with each other. And you can see that that almost touches this one. So again, touch that one and touch that one, and it will move so that that circle is positioned. So it's got a tangential relationship with those 2 curves, but it is 80 millimeters away from the end of this line. I'm now going to extend this line over to here. So we're going to use the extension tool again. Click on there, click to the edge, and it's just gone over the edge slightly, which is fine. Now I'm going to draw another circle. So I'm going to hover over the end of that line, come down, click so I'm vertically under it, click so I've attached to the line, and I'm now going to dimension that circle so that it is 5 millimeters in diameter. I can then use the trim tool, which is under the extend tool at the moment. I can trim this line back to the circle. I can trim off the inside of that circle, and then over here I can trim the ends of those 2 curves and the inside half of the circle as well. So that's the first part of the slot drawn. I now need to create 2 other slots over here. So again, center point circle. I'm going to come over here, I'm going to draw a circle and put it there, and I'm going to draw a circle over here and just drag that out. As long as they're approximately in the right places, that will be absolutely fine. Let's dimension them. So that's going to be 4 millimeters, and that one's going to be 4 millimeters. and I'm now just going to use a corner rectangle on each of these. So I'm just going to hover over the center, go up to the top and draw out a corner rectangle. And I'm going to do the same on this one, so hover over the center, up to the top and just draw out a corner rectangle. I'm now going to dimension the height of these rectangles to both be 4mm, and I'm going to dimension from the edge to the center of the circle on each one. This one's going to be 3mm, and the one above is going to be 4mm. I can now trim out the bits that I don't want, so I'm going to trim there, and if it comes up with an error, don't worry, I can trim there and there, and it will go back to the right colour. And likewise I can trim there and it won't like it, but if I trim off the other two parts of that circle, it suddenly is okay. Last thing I need to do is to position these two vertically. So again, I'm going to go back to the dimension tool. From the center of this one to the center of that one wants to be 25mm, and from the base here to the center of there wants to be 2mm. And that's the position of those. So these bits, although they overlap, it doesn't matter that we've gone further out with these rectangles. Basically we're just going to cut out an element here. So we can see that that's in the middle. Now we actually want to leave a little bit of material in the middle, so when we cut them we're going to set a distance but also set an offset, because you did it on the... So we're going to use an extrude feature. We're going to click on remove. We're going to start off with it coming towards us. So change the direction, change the distance to 12.5, and then second end position, we're going to make that 1, but it's important we change the direction so it's the same as this one. So click on there, and hopefully you saw it change over here. And then we're going to click on the tick, and then we're going to mirror that feature. So we're going to click on mirror, we're going to change it to feature mirror, extrude 7 is going to be the feature, and then the mirror plane is going to be the right plane. Click on the tick, and you can see it's taken a chunk out either side, but it's left a web in the middle. So let's go isometric, and we can see what we've done. And that's it for this video. Thank you for watching.